friends, I now invite you to enjoy this classic Dr. Groovy lesson. Hello folks, Scott Grove here, just lounging it today. I had a request to show how to play bar chords. These are not what you typically think of as bar chords. Now, let's explain what a bar chord is. A bar is spelled B-A-R-R-E. Now, what a bar chord is when you actually take a finger. Some people, you're familiar with your bar chords that look like this. If you're not, I will show them to you. What it means is that you have a finger that is covering a bunch of strings, even two strings, like in a F chord. You have this one finger here covering two strings. That's actually still considered a bar chord because one finger is actually barring across. It's acting like a bar. Actually, what it's acting like is a capo. Okay, so your typical bar chord, the way it is formed is actually just an E chord. Okay, so your typical E chord. Okay, but you put a capo on it. Okay, so what that means is you have to figure out how to play. Okay, all your bar chords are going to be done with your first finger, your index finger, okay? So you have to learn how to play all of your chords without your index finger. That's basically what this amounts to. So you get rid of your index finger, learn how to play an E chord. So you're going to end up with your ring finger. This is for E, like this. So you can see where everything's at. Index here, your pinky under it like a normal one, and your middle finger here at the first fret on the G string, just like a normal E chord, but just like your first finger's been chopped off. Now what we have to do is take that whole thing and play an F chord. So we move it all forward one fret, and then lay your old finger. Man, my hands are getting old looking. Okay, anyway, but you lay one finger across all of the strings. Now you play all of that. So that's the entire F bar chord. Move the whole thing up another fret, you get F sharp. Now what we're using to name these is, the E strings. Both of them, so that's the E strings. So if you take it up to the first dot, which is on the side, it's not on the front of my, where is the camera here? The Martin here. You go up to the third fret with your first finger, and everything is going to be named after that. So that's going to be a G note. Okay, so third fret, G. So now you play that same E chord, but with that barred on there. Then move it up, G sharp, and A, and so on. It's okay? So if you just keep on going up and going up and going up, you got A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, you just keep going on up. Okay? And those are all your major chords. If you want to make a bar chord a minor, let's go back to the G bar chord, which is barred at the G or the third fret of your E string. Play it. Just lift up your middle finger and you've got a minor bar chord. Put it back down in your major. Okay? Now it happens to go just the opposite way. If you do your bar chord starting at the A string now, so everything will be named off of this. Now what you're thinking of here, if you're building a bar chord on the A string, you want to build it off of an A chord. Okay? So now, remember how you play an A chord, a real one, without just laying one finger across there? You can still use that in your brain, but a regular A chord, you have that going on. Okay? Do the same thing, but just get rid of your first finger again. So there's A. You're not playing your low E string. Move that whole thing up, and then put your capo on, but do it just on the A string and all the way across because it has to get that E string too. So there's B flat or A sharp. Here's B. Okay. Now go up to the 3rd fret. There's C. And then C sharp, D, and it just keeps moving up. D sharp, E. Okay, why do we use bar chords? To get different sounds, different voicings actually. You've got your rhythm guitar player over there just playing the G chord, doing whatever, and if you're playing guitar too, you do not ever want to be playing the same voicing as the other guy. It just gets your stuff all muddied up. So you need to find other places. So I'm going to show you other places where we can play a G chord way up here. What's that one? I haven't showed it to you yet, but I'm going to. So you can play that chord, that G chord, okay? Or you can play this one, or you can play this one. But as long as you're not playing the same chord that he is. So it just gives you better ways of finding different voicings and so forth. Okay, and plus to be able to play in keys like E flat and B flat and all that. Girl singers tend to play, or sing, I should say, in B flat or E flat. That's just the way it is. That's why most people go and run and grab for a capo, which I will never ever be caught dead with in a live performance. I will teach songs with using them, but live I play the real chords or I don't play. Okay, so this is teaching you also how to play all these real chords. Okay, so there you had the using the A shape, then B flat, or yeah, B flat, B. Here's C. Now if you want to make it minor, you actually have to take your pinky here and move it back 1 fret, which you can't do. It's physically impossible. So that note has to go back there. So you have to reconfigure everything so it ends up looking this way. Okay, so your middle finger ends up, everything changes. These two that were here on the bottom, right here, on your G and B string, go up 1 fret each. Then your middle finger just sneaks down there and grabs the open hole there between everything on the B string. Then you can actually move that finger in to position there. You can make it that way the whole time if you want, just to make minors easier. Okay, so you see how that's going. Okay, now another thing that's really helpful is the C chord. Okay, this is where most people probably don't think about bar chords. The two I just showed you are the most common, but there are all these other chords left over. Okay, so now let's grab a C chord. Okay, but again, we got to shoot our first finger. It has to go away. So let's start with our pinky and build. I know it's really weird at first. Okay, but get rid of your first finger because it has to be your capo, or the finger that you bar across the strings. So there's C. So work on getting all your chords right, not just some of them, but all of them right without your first finger. Okay, just get used to it. Because you only halfway know how to play guitar if you know how to play your chords regular. The rest of them have to be barred, and I'm going to teach them all to you. So there's C. Now here's where it gets fun. Now we're going to go up to C sharp or D flat, and you just bar your finger across at the first fret now. Okay, now what's going to be naming the chord is your note that is on your A string, so that's a C sharp, or on your B string, that's another C sharp. Just like when you're normally in C, you had a C there, you had a C there. Now you bring it up 1, just bar it. So it's a C chord with a capo made out of your finger. Okay? Bring it up 1 more, that's D. You're like, well, what good is that? there's things in the key of D. Sure, you can do lots of things in D, but there's certain things you can do with this that you cannot do in D. Okay, like this. Okay, and now what else can you not do is this. When, like I said, when the girls are singing or whatever, and you got to play an E flat. Okay, most rock bands in the day, and some today still, they tune all their guitars down a half step, meaning the entire guitar is tuned down to E flat. So you have an E flat, you have an A flat, you have a D flat, you have a G flat, you have a B flat string, so they tune them down. So if you want to play along with records, you got to learn how to play in these keys without retuning your guitar. So right here's E flat. You just took that C sharp, D, now we're in E flat. Okay, so you just moved it up, and we're in good old E flat now. And I'll show you how to get to real chords here in a second. Okay, now that is what I was talking about earlier. You had the F chord. It is a bar chord because you are barring across. If you finished up the whole chord, it would just be this, the big full chord. That's the big F chord, but you're only playing part of it by playing this. Okay, so when we were in E flat, which is at your finger designating it here on your B string at the 4th fret, playing a C chord, barring it across, and now you need the next chord, which is going to be A flat. You can use an F chord doing it by just barring across at the 4th fret, just like a regular F chord, or make the whole thing. You already know it looks like an F chord, just make the whole thing, which is bigger sounding, big and full sounding, because you get to use all your bass strings. So you got E flat. Okay, because you couldn't play these chords before, most of you. Okay, so you got E flat with 5 strings ringing. That's a full chord, boy. A flat, back to E flat, then to B flat. Okay, or F shaped again, but it's just all the way up here at the 6th fret. Low E string names it, or high E string names it. So then again, it is just your E shape. Try to get in frame here. I'm trying to work with an upside down camera here. Okay, so again, E flat, A flat, back to E flat, to B flat. Okay, so that's one easy way to do that. Okay, and that's how I showed you when I went up to G a minute ago. I said your guitar player's down here playing a regular G chord, and I said you could play a G way up here. Okay, that's the same thing. I just went up so that my middle finger is actually up here at the 8th fret, still playing the C chord, C-shaped chord, and just barring it. And then I would just go to C. Okay, so I'm just playing an F chord, but up here on the high E string, where it would be a C. Okay, so if I were to be getting rid of my guitar pick, put it down here, out of the way. So I'm back here playing G again now with these bar chords. Now C. Back to G. Now to D. Okay, how is that a bar chord? Because I'm using one finger. Just like I said before when we were doing the A, don't ever forget that. But take it up here to the 7th fret, and there's D. So I'm playing the middle notes. Well, everything's being fretted except for the high E string. But now you can put another extra bar. Use your pinky to bar your E string and your B string at the 10th fret. Okay, so you're skipping 2 frets and doing this. This will work everywhere, like all of these will. So there's a big sounding D chord. That's just the 7th. Back to G. Okay, so I hope you understand how that is. It's just a C chord, but it's just been capoed up here with a flush capo. G, C, back to G, now to D. Just take everything off. It's just right there. Back to G. Okay, so you see how that works. Okay, so just use that knowledge everywhere. You could do it E flat up to A sharp or A flat. And you don't have to guess. You're back to E flat. Now you gotta do is take everything off, and what you're left with, a B flat. You want to make it bigger? Put some fingers on there. 7th back to a E flat. So now you can play all the pretty stuff without having to use a capo, and it's really easy to do things like that. Okay, the other one I want to show you is just another chord, you know, but it's just another bar chord, and that's just using a regular G chord. Okay, so you take your G chord again, get rid of that first finger. So now you got to make it. This is one of the tougher ones. Oddly enough. Okay, so you get to make your G chord like this without your first finger, but you always got to leave it way behind. Okay, because your capo, your finger back here, your bar finger, is going to be way out of the way. So we got G fine. Okay, say we want to take that up to A, so we got to go up 2 frets. Okay, so we take everything up 2 frets. But then that first finger has to be capoed way back here on the 2nd fret. So it has to remain way behind. Okay, so same thing. And the higher you take it, the easier it gets because your frets get closer together. Okay, again, the low E string or the high E string. We'll name this when you're using the G chord. So you want to take it all the way up to C. There's C right there at the 7th fret, I'm sorry, 8th fret of your low E string. Then you build your G chord starting from there at your C note. And then take your first finger back 2 frets from your note that is furthest behind, which is your middle finger, and bar it. Okay, so that's just to show you how bar chords are just basically done. They are regular chords and then just being capoed by using your first finger. Okay, so that's simply it. Try all of the other chords and come up with your own stuff. I'm definitely a guy who thinks that the more you learn on your own, you're going to remember it more. Okay, so there's basically what bar chords are, and if you're just going to learn a bunch of tab crap, which is what tabs are, you won't remember them. But if you take what I just showed you now and then go learn the rest of them on your own by thinking, okay, it's just any chord, but I can't use my first finger, and I have to use that as my capo, then you'll figure out what all your bar chords are, what you can and cannot do with them by trial and error, and once you get them right, you'll never forget them. Yeah, that's learning. Okay, so anytime I go out and play, if I want to play an E flat, I know I can do it right here. or I can do it right here, you know, up here at the 8th fret on my middle finger or middle strings. I can do this. What's that? Oh, that's kind of a D chord, but it's got a bar behind it. But you have to go figure the D chord out with a bar behind it. That's your job, okay? Because I'm just showing you part of it. I showed you the G chord, and the A chord, and the E chord, and the F chord, and C chord. You go do your own D chords, and what else is there? Okay, and figure out how to make them major and minor, but if I'm playing an E flat, I can play here. All it actually is that C chord looking thing, but I left one finger off. See how I did that? Okay, I'm playing E flat up here at the 8th fret. Then I went to that C thing, just bar it, and that's your next chord. Then go back to E flat, and I'm just going to play a simple F to think that's what I'm basically playing is the F, but I'm just going back and still starting it with that first finger that was where this was, and then you can make a full chord if you want. Okay, so that's positions. Remember how to do this. Now just make that big C chord for your next chord. You never move that first finger, that bar chord, back to E flat. Now that F chord that starts where that one was, or you can make a full bar chord. Okay, so there you go, your introduction into bar chords, and the rest of you get to, or all of you get to figure the rest out on your own. Like I said again, you'll never learn more, and it won't sink in and stay with you more than when you figure it out for yourself. Okay, so go figure out the rest for yourself. Remember, your first finger here, that guy, that's your bar chord, that is your capo. If you can ever get by in life without ever using a capo, do it this way. Okay? A capo back in my day, we didn't even call them that. We called it a cheater. Okay? You'd go to the music store, yeah, I need a cheater bar. You know, we didn't call them capos. For all my Australian mates out there, they call it a capo. Okay? But, yeah, we call it cheater bars. So quit cheating. Quit sucking. Quit being mediocre. Be good. Know how to find every chord. This will teach you how to play every chord really, really fast. As soon as you know which note is where on your neck, you can find these chords in no time at all and play an E flat and B flat like nobody's business. Okay? So happy hunting, happy learning, happy bar chording. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.